Welcome everyone. Hello. Welcome to the CEMS Startup Challenge 2020. It's really great to have you with us. Everyone here in the Zoom call where we are hosting this, and also everyone out there around the world in the CEMS universe tuning in via our Facebook live stream. We're super happy that so many of you were interested and signed up for this event, and that so many teams handed in their applications and joined and are now here with us today. And we are really looking forward to see what you guys have to pitch, and super happy to present you these startups and the entrepreneurial projects of your fellow CEMS students and alumni.
Yes, absolutely agreed. And today in our virtual edition of the CEMS Startup Challenge 2020, we do not only feature 9 startups from CEMS students and alumni, but also welcome a wonderful jury of CEMS alumni and some very interesting special guests who are going to present some insightful talks on what they learned on their entrepreneurial journey within CEMS. So thank you all, and welcome to this special occasion of the 2020 Startup Challenge.
Before we start, let's quickly look back at the history. So the first CEMS Startup Challenge was actually held in 2016. And today we are proud to host the 4th edition of this format already. As you can see with this picture from 2018, we usually hold this in person, and we are really looking forward to being able to do that again, to actually meet everyone in person, be together, network, and also see all the spectators that are now in front of their screens in person. But as you know, this year that's not possible. The Career Forum is going virtual, and so are we. So what we do this year is this format, and it gives us just some new opportunities that we of course wouldn't have if we do it in person. So we'll have people join from all around the world mostly, and it also gives us the chance for the first time to host speakers from also different countries here in the CEMS, inside the CEMS universe, and get their perspective on entrepreneurship and CEMS.
Yeah, maybe just on an organization note, I think we're all set by now and we're all used to those virtual events. Just a quick reminder, so everyone here on the Zoom call is either a jury member, a speaker, or a participant of the startup teams. If anyone else wants to follow what we are doing here, then the event is streamed live on Facebook via the CEMS channels. And yeah, just to keep everything smooth, later on you're going to be asked to share your screens when you present. We'll allow that, and then you'll just have to stop sharing again, and so that we can take over and everything runs smoothly.
Thanks, Alvin. So this is probably what you're looking at the moment. So not an audience, but your screen. But you're also looking at these 2 faces that we're just talking, probably somewhere in this or in that corner. Let's quickly talk about who we actually are. There's 2 answers to that question. First of all, who are we as people? And your hosts today are Alvin and I. And first of all, let me introduce you to Alvin. He's also the co-lead of CEMS Entrepreneurs. He graduated from the University of St. Gallen and spent his semester abroad at the University of Sydney, and he's been working with me on CEMS Entrepreneurs and on this event together with some other members of our team for the past couple of months. And before this event and before CEMS Entrepreneurs, he was also already strongly engaged in the community, amongst other things, organizing the CEMS Staff Forum in 2018, which I, as a participant, have to say was a real blast.
Thanks, Victor. Yeah, very, very happy to collaborate here with you. Victor is the other co-host of CEMS Entrepreneurs with a background in Vienna and in Stockholm at SSE, and all you as well. During your time as a student, you were quite active as a member of the student board and everything. So yeah, very cool that our paths cross again now here, and that we have the chance to host this amazing event together. And you said that there was actually a second answer to the question of who we are.
Exactly. So of course, this is by no means about us, but it's about CEMS Entrepreneurs. And CEMS Entrepreneurs is an organization and an initiative of CEMS alumni and also CEMS students for CEMS alumni and for CEMS students. And our mission is to inspire CEMSies and to support CEMSies on their entrepreneurial journey. So that means helping them to get started, to get going, helping them along the way as well through the powerful CEMS network, giving workshops, having insightful speakers, having events, being able to connect globally and across industries and also with different stakeholders within CEMS. But as you know, the founders and startups don't exist just in a vacuum. There's more to it. So of course, we also want to collaborate with corporate partners, and we try to connect the CEMSies and the founders that we work with all stakeholders and have a nice ecosystem going.
Yeah, so the message here for you, if you're interested in entrepreneurship in any way, and it doesn't matter where you're a student or an alumni, then I would really advise you to quickly take out your phone, scan that QR code here, and then you can sign up to our mailing list. You'll stay tuned on upcoming events, on any other topics that are interesting and might be insightful for you. So yeah, just seize that opportunity and stay tuned on any future updates on CEMS Entrepreneurs.
So we're looking forward to getting in touch with you. If that was a bit too quick for you to take out your phone, feel free to just go to CEMSentrepreneurs.com. You'll find all the information that you need there. And we're very much looking forward to building with you. And speaking of building, I believe our first guest has something very special to say about that. Alvin, who am I talking about?
Yes, we're very happy that today we can welcome Felix here on board, Felix Staeritz. He actually has a lot of experience when it comes to building. I think, Felix, you founded your first company when you were 16. By now, you're a serial entrepreneur. But you're more than that. You're also an investor, a business angel, author of a best-selling book series, Fight Back. And currently you are the founder and CEO of Founders Lane, which is a corporate venture builder in Berlin, focusing mainly on health and climate topics. And yeah, apart from that, Felix, you also engage as a founder and board member of various nonprofit organizations, most prominently Fight Back, an organization that you founded yourself. And you're an active board member of the World Economic Forum and the digital leaders there. So yeah, very glad that you agreed to join here tonight and share some thoughts about entrepreneurship and CEMS in general. And thanks already for that, and handing over to you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I must really say, when I think back to my CEMS time, I think back to a time that was very special. On the one hand side, it was special because of all these super intense lectures we had and presentations and, you know, doing so many courses at the same time and maybe living in a different country, but at the same time, just enjoying life. And I mean, the motto we had was all the time, work hard and party harder. I think we said this more or less every day to ourselves, and I think we have done here a great job, I would say. And nowadays also many of my best friends are actually from the CEMS time. So I'm in close touch, not with all of them, obviously, there are too many, but some of my best friends, they're coming from exactly that time. And others, they are obviously in a situation that they are working for so great companies, consultancies, corporates. So it's really great to see what the CEMS journey is actually all about. And besides hard working and enjoying life and all this global mindset, it always felt to me that CEMS people are also taking lot of responsibility. They want to actually, you know, make a change. They want to create something. And this is also leading me today to a question. And this question is, can we actually contribute as CEMSies to the many challenges we are currently facing nowadays? And to talk about the challenges we are facing nowadays, I'm obviously referring to the health climate challenges we are facing. And I really believe that this community can do something about it. I give you a little bit more context. I myself worked as an entrepreneur for many years, and I was lucky to also be, up to an IPO situation, and then have been involved with the United Nations, and we built the platform Share the Meal. Maybe you've heard about it, where you can donate money for children, and the one guy from the United Nations came to me and said, hey, I want to solve world hunger. It's like a super big topic, yeah. And I said, okay, you're working for WFP, so for the World Food Program, you're at the right place. He said, it's too slow. We need to do more. So we said, okay, being partying, again all night, we said, okay, let's use the mobile phone. Let's build a platform where people get a notification to lunchtime and dinner time, where they can donate 40 cents. 40 cents is like one meal per child per day. And nowadays it worked out. It's a big platform. It's one of the biggest platforms now out there. And it's not to say that we have done a good job, not at all. It's about that we collaborated as entrepreneurs and with an established company. Because without the United Nations, we couldn't use the access in the country and the government access and the brand. And without that, we wouldn't have the trust. But we have built an own legal entity next to the United Nations, where we created the space to actually, have the spark, the culture, the innovation drive to build that. After that journey, I was so inspired to actually say, wow, there are so many other challenges out there, talking about climate change. What is climate change actually, right? I mean, climate change means we need to fly a little bit less. We need to be more aware of plastics. And all those kind of topics we are reading and listening about day in and day out, obviously. But it's not only coming from ourselves. We also need innovation. Okay, innovation is driven by venture capital. True. Here we also contribute, and here we also have more and more impact funds. Also, a fund I'm invested in, Cavalry from Berlin, is heavily or invested in January heavily into Planetly, 5.2 million. Really great thing. But climate change means also we have mobility, we have the big utilities, we have logistic companies, we have construction companies, we have a current system, and we need to work with the current system to make a change happen. So what I'm actually saying here is we need to leverage what is currently out there, and only VC risk capital is not the only solution. When we talk about health system, it's the same thing again. It is about that we need to build new innovation, new digital platforms, because we need to be more efficient, because humanity gets older, and that's all good. But we need innovation to drive change, to have an impact. Why am I saying all of that? I'm saying all of that because it is important, in order to have an impact nowadays, that we start to collaborate. It's not one company, it's not one consultancy, it's not one investment bank, it's not the entrepreneur that makes a change. It is, in order to change and have an impact on climate change, we need to collaborate with each other. And why I'm saying this is, can we as a CEMS community actually take a responsibility here? Yes, we can. And I believe we even should. Because when I look at CEMS, those are the people who are working at very great positions in so many different countries with so many different cultures. We are more than 15,000 people all over the world, just alumni. Every year we get more. I think there's no other university program I at least know about. Maybe there is, but at least I think this is a really strong program, a really strong community that can have an impact. And I really see also, they are not only the alumni, they're also the corporate partners that can make a difference. There's obviously the CEMS Entrepreneur program and the universities themselves. So when you ask me, and this whole CEMS Entrepreneur initiative today here, and thanks again for organizing all of that, I think is so important, because what I didn't see in the last years is that we actually, as a CEMS community, get more together and leverage more the assets we have in between all of us. So what I'm actually asking you all is, shouldn't we take more responsibility? Shouldn't we all be a little bit more an entrepreneur? I'm not saying that you guys all need to be an entrepreneur, but I think in order to make a change, it's all of us who need to make a change. And if we just share and have more awareness of this topic and leverage the platform here, I think this could be so powerful. And I really believe this can be a good starting point here. And this is what I wanted to let you know, guys. I'm extremely proud. It's sensational to be here today, and passing over to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Felix, for your interesting insights. And I think it's absolutely true that collaboration really is at the heart of what CEMS is about, and that here with this initiative, we can maybe make one step in the right direction and contribute a small portion to solving those big issues that you mentioned. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing your opinion on that. Moving on now, Victor, what do we have on our agenda today, and how does it look like? What's the plan?
Let me quickly give you a little overview of what's happening. So we already had our little keynote by Felix. Thanks again, Felix, for chipping in here. Next up is the main event, our pitching competition. So you'll hear pitches from the 9 startups that are participating today. And afterwards, there will be the jury deliberation. So the jury will find out or determine what the winning team is on each track. And you will also, the people watching at home or wherever you are right now, have the chance to vote for your favorite startup. So there will not be only 2 winners, but also 3 winners today. And while we are waiting for the jury to make the decision and for you to vote at home, we'll also have 3 alumni sharing their stories on their entrepreneurial journeys during that time. And yeah, then it's just about announcing the winners, finding out who won, who your favorites were, and that's a wrap for today.
Very cool, very cool. Excited to see that move on. Before we come to that, I actually quickly want to take the opportunity and thank all the mentors who contributed to this event, because frankly, without you, that would never have been possible. And it's really, I think, if you give advice or if you pass on advice to someone who needs it and who's grateful for it, first of all, that's very rewarding. But second of all, I think many people still underestimate how powerful that is. And to give you a concrete example, I had the chance to quickly talk to one of the participating teams earlier today. And they said that actually, due to the feedback they received from their mentors, they made more progress in the past 3 weeks than over the past 3 months. And I think, especially in situations where you're a little bit stuck, some outside feedback can really help. And when we asked the CEMS Alumni Network to join as mentors for the CEMS Startup Challenge 2020, so many people volunteered to take on that responsibility. And that's just amazing. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, also big thanks from my side to the mentors. It was a pleasure to get you on board and to get to know most of you leading up to this event. But talking about the event, it's time for the main event, the spotlight, the pitching competition. So what are the rules for today? For those that don't know, we have 2 tracks, the concept stage and the early stage track. The concept stage is for startups or for teams that are very early in working on their ideas. That means they might have a first prototype, a fleshed out concept, and some general or more specific idea on where they want to go when they came into this challenge. And by now they should have quite a clear aim where to go. And the second track, the early stage track, is for startups or for teams that already have a first prototype, first customers, a first demonstrator or anything like that going, and that could also already gather some feedback from the market. So those are the 2 tracks. We have 4 people competing in the early stage and 5 people or 5 teams in the concept stage track. The rules for the pitching are 5 minutes maximum. So we will cut you off after 5 minutes. Please make sure that you, the teams, stay on time. And afterwards, our lovely jury members will have a maximum of 4 minutes to ask some follow-up questions, and we then ask the startups to be very concise in their answers, so we have the chance to ask, or the jury has the chance to ask 1, 2, or even 3 questions. So speaking about the jury, who are they? So in the jury we have Christian, Eva, Leo, and Marie-Barb, and thanks also to you guys here going somewhere around in the Zoom call. Unfortunately, I can't see your faces at the moment, but thanks for being here with us. Thank you for putting in the time and for scoring and evaluating, and also posing some maybe difficult questions at the startups that are presenting here today. Thank you.
Yeah, apart from that, obviously every vote is counted here. So also the audience members are gonna have the chance to vote. Everyone, also people watching from the live stream, we're later on gonna share a QR code that you can scan and access the voting. So yeah, if you follow the pitches now, then pay close attention to the teams that you like the most, and in the end you will get to vote in their favor.
So it's time. I think you have waited long enough. We will start with the pitching competition now. So I would ask the team E-Agent to get ready. Prepare yourself, unmute your microphone, get your camera ready, get your screen sharing ready. We are wishing you all the best of luck for this one. You will have 5 minutes as soon as you start with your pitch. And I would say, if you're ready, fire away.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are the E-Agent team. Can you give us a time on?
Yes, I will start the timer now.
Okay. Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So if we had to pitch our ID in 10 seconds, I'd say that E-Agent is the platform that connects athletes and sponsors. But since we have 3 minutes, let me tell you my story. So I started judo at 5, and in 2010, I won my first gold medal at the Belgium Championships. After that, my father was the one acting as my agent to find sponsors, and yet it took an additional 7 years to get my first contract. The idea of E-Agent comes through the struggle I went through, but my story is not uncommon. Sophie is one of the best athletes in the world, and that's how she had to look for sponsors on social media. At the end, she found a few sponsors, which means that the market is not inexistent, it is just inefficient. Sophie typically is the targeted audience of our solution, side by side with all the other athletes that train at a high level but don't find sponsors.
The sponsorship market is huge. $65 billion are spent each year by brands around the world. In addition to this, 2 billion people are doing sports either as amateur or professionals. And the sponsorship market is growing steadily by 4% each year. That's the reason why we believe that we are not entering a niche market, but we are creating a global mass market. Our team is the best positioned to take on this opportunity because we know the industry, we know the sponsoring process, and we know how to run a company. But most importantly, we have this close relationship with the sponsors and a true understanding of the athletes' struggles. To solve this, we're building a platform. What you're looking at the screen right now is an early version of where we are in the team and what the production will look like in the future. We want it to be intuitive and easy to connect and discover both sponsors and athletes. So first, we discuss and identify needs of the clients in terms of image and marketing. Then we have this ranking system that informs on the commercial value of the athletes. This allows us to efficiently match the sponsor with the right athletes and their needs. And then we manage the contracts.
Several partners are already joining the vision because we are saving them precious time. We are providing them with a custom solution in order to expand their reach in the way they want to, and they can focus on what they do best while we handle the part we are good at. At the moment, we are at the concept stage and we want to challenge and validate our idea. At the same time, we are developing the MVP and we've already reached out to athletes and brands, as you could see. We were working with them to develop a useful tool that will eventually be supported by an algorithm. And that took us 10 seconds to tell what e-agent is, but we needed more than 3 minutes to explain why we do it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. That's right on time. Perfect. Thank you. Now I would like to ask our wonderful jury members. Now is your turn. If you like, please fire away with your first questions, whoever is ready to do so.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to start. Do you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we hear you.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you guys for the presentation. Have you thought about the business model? Like the first question I got into my mind was, how will the lifetime value look for you and what will be the acquisition costs actually of the athletes and the brands? So what are your thoughts around the business model? So
is your question about how we're going to make money or more about the cost?
I think both, really the business model. So how will you make money? And I'm not sure how often then the sponsors actually change. Is this then kind of a one-off business with an athlete? You help them to find sponsors and then they are gone from your platform. Do they come back? And of course, all of that will have also an impact on your business model.
Okay, so I have two main approaches to answer this question. The first is, as you stated, this is a multi-sided platform, which means that we can either take money from the demand side on the supply side. We've thought about the both of it, but we still need to conduct surveys to see exactly with the MVP which will be the best way to take money. So we could do annuity from sponsor brands, or we could do volume-based pricing on every match we make, or we could incorporate a freemium for both athletes and sponsors. And the second thing I'd say is that you talked about people just matching and then leaving the platform. But as you can see, we match with the right athletes. So we provide an actual value for the sponsors. So they will not leave the platform if they are satisfied with our service, with which we are pretty sure they will be satisfied, and we handle the contract. So there is a sort of security that athletes will get from our management of the contracts. So that's how I would respond to your question, if it's right answered.
Yes, thank you. No, I mean, of course, it's the right approach now to just, test the market, do the customer development and really see what they are ready to commit and pay for that, and how you can make sure that you have a long-term relationship with both sides of the market.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Eva, for the question. We have time for at least one more question. Any of the other jury members care to ask one?
I have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, for the presentation. I think you clearly expressed the need, and that's pretty compelling. One question is about the size of the market. I think you provided a number of 2 billion people who are either amateur or pro. And I think we probably need to drill down a little bit and be a bit more specific. Are you looking after amateur? Are you looking after professionals? And do you have maybe a narrower number, which is your first initial target?
If you allow me. So your question is, what is our targeted audience? Okay, so as we stated with this particular example, she definitely is a high-level athlete, but she's not professional. So we cannot say we are targeting professional athletes, but that doesn't mean we're not targeting high-level athletes, as I say. So our first target is the athletes that want to live from their sport. Oh, yeah, go on. Oh,
sorry.
Sorry.
Just an issue. Yeah. Okay.
We can still hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like. So I was saying.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, so we are targeting the sportive that are at a high level but don't really live from it and would like to live from it. So this is our first target, but we are never closing the gates to amateurs that believe they could demand funding, nor professionals that could actually benefit the visibility of our platform. So we're not closing any gate, but the first targeted audience is typically the Sophie example or my example when I was an athlete at this level. Does this answer the question?
It's probably the signal that there's no more questions, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I hope that answered your question, Marie-Barb. Is that fine for you?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
Then thank you, Team E-Agent, for your pitch and for answering the jury questions. Next up is Epiclay.
Very welcome.
Please. Thanks. Is Epiclay, are you ready? Do you have your camera open? Do you have your microphone open? Do you have your slides ready? Wonderful. Then I would. Perfect. Then I would kindly ask you to share your screen. And as soon as you start talking with your pitch, I will start the timer.
I hope the full screen slide are shared right now.
At the moment, unfortunately, we only see the message that you need to double click to enter full screen mode. Or is that myself? Maxime, can you quickly tell me if you're seeing his?
Try again.
So, Christoph, you've started screen sharing, but there's no image at this point. So you could give it another go if you will. Just stop screen sharing and start again.
Of course, I will do that.
There you go.
That looks good.
So now it should work, right?
You had it for a second.
I suggest we move you over, Christoph, together with Ivana to the startup room, and we will just continue with the next startup and give you some time to fix the issue. Is that okay for you?
Sure, thanks.
Okay, wonderful. Then next up is Job Space. How are you doing? Please open your camera, open your microphone, give me a quick hi. Let me know you're ready. I think that's Gustav, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Do you hear me? Sorry, I was muted.
Yes, no problem. Great to have you. Please start your screen sharing. Show us your slides. And I will start the timer of 5 minutes when you start presenting your pitch.
Yes, folks. You see this?
Yes, we can see it. Wonderful. You're ready to go.
Yeah, I will just start a timer on my phone if that's okay.
Of course.
Nice. Okay. So hey everyone, my name is Gustav and this is Job Space. I will start now. So, are you ready?
Yep, go for it.
40% of European workers wants to change jobs but are not actively seeking for new employment. Digging into this data, we see two groups. First, the academics. This group is not really represented in this chunk. And why is that? Well, people with a degree tends to change jobs frequently. They have the knowledge to do so, and they have a great platform in LinkedIn for this cause. What about the other group, the non-academic? Well, this group is the key driver for the large percentage in the top left corner. Why do they have problems when it comes to job search? Well, they are lacking the know-how, they are lacking the tools, and they're lacking the search to actually apply for a new job. This group is our target group. What more do we know about this group? Well, they often live in rural areas and they're often engaged in unions. So how large is this market? Well, the market is huge. In Europe, we have 200 million non-academic workers. In Sweden, yet alone, we have 3 million non-academic workers. I'm from Sweden, my co-founders are also from Sweden, and this in Sweden is where we will start this company. So how are we solving this problem? Let's start with a vision. We want to create better economic opportunities for non-academic workers. Stemmed from our vision, we have our mission, and that is make job search and professional development a breeze by unifying non-academic workers on a P2P platform. So how are we achieving this? Well, from research and speaking with our target group, we have identified 3 key features and 2 strategic relations in order to make our platform complete and actually bring value. Starting from the left here, the resume. In a click, people should be able to generate a good-looking CV with references from friends and colleagues to the jobs. No more jumping around to different job listing sites. We want to gather every job ad there is in one site and make money from doing it. And 3, community. Interaction, social feed, discussion groups. We want users to feel empowered and empower each other when it comes to taking their step in their next professional challenge. Moving to the right side, the unions. Unions are today struggling. They are losing members and have poor communication. We can help them. 5, the last one, municipalities. Jobs turnover are the lowest in rural municipalities. Unemployment the highest. This is bad for the country, it's bad for GDP, it's bad for the municipality itself, but most importantly, it's bad for the people. We can change this. So how are we making money? So right now we have a pipeline of around 8 or 9 different business models. And our idea is to explore and try until we find the right fit. Anyway, this is the one we'll start with. Focusing on the users, our main asset, we are confident in the logic that we will be able to push down this large 40% number of people who wants to change job but are not actually seeking for a new employment. We are confident we can push down that number, and that will hence we will expand the market when it comes to job transactions, and hence we are bringing value to the job listing sites. From there, we'll start aggregating the different job ads from different job listing sites to our site and charts them for every click our user generates when they are clicking on their ad and taking them from our site to their site. That's a win-win for the job listing site, for us, and for the user itself. And so, what about the team? So we today have a team of 6 people. We have been growing the team from starting just by 2 people, and now we're 6. Just a short introduction of all of them. Starting from left, Eddie, our finance guy, has previously been working in several startups in order to scale them. Myself, I started my first company when I was 18 years old, and today I am pursuing my CEMS degree. Willy also started his first company as 18-year-old. Today he works as a Scrum Master at a software company. And Jesper, he doesn't have any education degree, but still, and I promise you this, he's the best developer in the entire Nordics. He's won competitions in it. Then we have Alex, our back-end hacker. Today he works as an IT consultant in a Swedish company. He has previous experience from Microsoft. And and Misha, our latest recruit, our design hipster. He's in charge of all the design, the UX, and he has previous experience from several startups he's been running, and they have all been very successful. And I think that's around my time is up. So thank you so much.
Wonderful, thank you. That was right on time, perfect. Again, I hand over to our lovely jury members. Do you have a question for Gustav?
Well, happy to start again. Thank you, guys. How have you thought about user acquisition or the acquisition of those non-academic workers? Because if you tend to sell basically the clicks, the question is how much then you can actually earn with the clicks sold. And I think therefore it will be very important to figure out how can you actually scale the acquisition of, you know, the users or the workers, as you call them.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you for that question. First, just to clarify, I think that business model is the start, and I think we want to scale up the business model. And to answer your question, our go-to-market strategy looks kind of like this. So we're right now trying to sign unions in order so they can create their own discussion groups and pages where they can let their members interact with each other. And if we are signing the unions and they have around 100,000 members, we think we can reach the members from the unions and help unions, because unions today have a problem and actually communicate with their members. They are sending like a newsletter on emails with like the no reply address, and that's all the members they get. So if they can have their own discussion groups, we think they can improve their value proposition to users. So that's one part, and also like cooperating with municipalities. In Sweden, for instance, the Swedish Public Employment Agency is right now shutting down, and that has a lot of consequences for Swedish municipalities. So they are setting up their own service centers, as they are called, and they are trying to work with these matters, but they are not really efficient in that. So we think if we can cooperate with them, we can always attract users. And then going to the praises there, and that's just, yeah, it's basically users invite users. So for what's typical for our target group is that they don't really have reference or the standard reference from a boss or from different works. They have pretty much been at the same job for like 20 or 30 years. They maybe only have one reference. So their key reference will be actually friends or teachers from the high school. So they can invite these people to the site in order for them to give them praises. And that's also one strategy. And then we have the last one, it's paid ads, but that's the one that costs money. So that's the boring one, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Then what about Leo or Christian from the jury? Do you have a question for Gustav?
So maybe I have a very basic question. What is the thing you need the most now?
I think it is to get the sign with job listing sites and understand, or maybe understand that we can give them value instead of being a threat to them. So I think, yeah, that would be the key, if that makes sense. Maybe not. I can show you like this. So we have this map to the right where we are placed. So we are very focused on the people and the traditional job listing sites like Indeed and Monster. And we have a bunch of Swedish sites as well. They are very focused on the transactional jobs. They are running the company's errands. We want to focus on the people because we believe if we can build a platform where people wants to be, that will bring value later on. But in order to get value to our platform, we need to cooperate with the job listing sites so we can integrate their job ads. But that's kind of a threat to the job listing sites itself. So we have to like really be sure how we can work in the value chain, focusing on the relationship with the unions and municipalities and be an enabler for job listing site instead of a complete rival to them, I would say.
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you very much for your pitch, and thank you for answering the jury's question. Then we will go over now again to Epiclay. Christoph, how are you doing? Are you ready again?
Back at it again. Yes, I am.
Okay, let's try one more time. Could you please start sharing your screen? And I see something, so that looks good.
Awesome.
If you're ready, we are ready. You have 5 minutes. The timer starts as soon as you start your pitch.
Perfect. So time is running, not just for this pitch, but also to prevent a global climate crisis. And that's exactly why governments, but also businesses around the world are spending trillions of dollars every year to reduce carbon emissions in their country. Just like Austria, which recently passed a climate action bill with a budget of $200 billion to reduce the CO2 emissions in the country by 12%. That's a great step, but we would like to propose a more efficient solution, because for just half of that budget, we could have made the whole capital city, Vienna, carbon negative, and at the same time reduce CO2 emissions in the whole country by 21%. So what's that mysterious solution? It's green walls, which means that we put plants on the vertical space. And the best thing about it is we can use an actual existing infrastructure, namely 120 million square meters of greenable facades just in Vienna. For reference, that's twice the size of San Marino. And for our CEMS sports teams, that's 17,000 soccer pitches just in Vienna. Or in other words, the market size is, or the market potential is purely enormous. And it's also fast growing at a projected growth rate of 17% per year. So of course, there are already solutions on the market. However, they combine three main issues. They're either too heavy for existing facades, too complex in their installation, or too costly due to extremely high maintenance needs. And that's exactly why our cities often still look like this. But we do believe that our cities deserve to look something more like that. And that's exactly why we have developed Epiclay, which is a modular and clay-based facade greening system, which allows us to put the plants directly on the modules without any soil needed. This opens up 3 big advantages. First, the increased energy efficiency, which means a reduction in cooling and heating costs, a lightweight, making it applicable to almost any facade, and lastly, the low maintenance costs. On one hand, because we don't need any soil, on the other hand, because the smart material mix does not require a constant water circulation. Our business model is based on 3 main pillars: the green modules themselves, the planning and the installation of actual projects, and lastly, an optional maintenance fee, all while in the initial investment being up to 30% cheaper than a glass facade. This combination allowed us to gain significant traction over the last months, even though we're still in the prototyping stage. We have 3 concrete inquiries for pilot projects, which we will implement in the next months. And all that has been made possible with our international team of architects, biologists, designers, and business developers, as well as, of course, our broad network of experienced mentors and partners. Also, we were able to gain feedback and further extend our network in various incubators and pitch awards, which now leads to us further looking for, on one hand, testing opportunities, but on the other hand, we also want to start a first financing round beginning of next year. So if you're interested in Epiclay, we would be more than happy if you would want to book a meeting under calendly.com/Epiclay and find out more about us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that pitch. Now we're ready again. I will start the timer 4 minutes for jury questions.
Hi, Christoph. It's Lior here. Just wanted to understand a bit more about the IP here and what is it that you've built and developed here, and how did it actually come about?
Yeah, so it's not purely a brick or a tile, as you might guess. It's a hollow clay-based, but not purely clay, facade greening module, which allows us to have the whole irrigation system implemented in this one tile, and then have kind of sort of an autark system. So that's also the thing with which we are patenting at the moment, which we have outlined in our IP strategy. And if we are lucky and if it goes through, we can go so far as to patent clay-based facade greening system as a total.
Mm-hmm. And you've developed that all in-house yourselves? So what
Yes.
is this? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we have entirely developed it ourselves, more like our architects, because I'm not able to do that. Sure. And now, of course, we are outsourcing the production, a first step.
Yeah, and how long did that take you to develop, out of curiosity?
Basically, 9 months. It was quite big, quite fast, based on a very scarce budget, of course, but I'm more than happy that our architects have been able to do that.
I have a question as well. Thank you, Chris. So how much of the effort is it to adjust the existing walls? Like, does it work also as a retrofit, or is your target market actually buildings in progress?
Oh, we have put a lot of effort, a lot of thought into how this can be implemented as easily on existing facades as possible, because that's the big market. Because obviously there are a lot of buildings being built at the moment every year, but the big change we can make is on existing facades, and that's exactly which we want to target.
So presumably you're also looking for money, as you said. So first of all, thank you for your presentation. Well done. Presumably you wouldn't look for traditional business angel or VC at all. I would rather think you're looking for a real estate developer.
Yes, so we're looking at both, because on one hand we do understand that we as a group of students or former students are all first-time founders. So we do also want and need that know-how and expertise from an existing or from a business angel. But yes, we are in talks with strategic partners for different forms of partnerships, just like Rockwool, for example, which is the biggest producer of stone wool insulation, and also other real estate developers or big players in the construction market.
So are we in Vienna?
For example, that would be very amazing, but no contact there yet.
Two quick question, Christoph. Do you have any, I didn't quite understand if you have any live projects right now. Is it, have you installed the tile somewhere? Mm-hmm. And also you said you outsourced the production. Can you give us a bit more information about that, please?
Yeah. I would be happy to. So we have a first test wall, which is placed in Barcelona, where our architects are placed, so they can almost on a daily basis check up on that. We will have the next pilot projects, which will then also be the first ones with some external partners over the next months implemented. And in terms of outsourcing, we are partnering with local ceramicists. For example, in Austria, one of the largest ceramicists in Europe, which on one hand have the know-how of centuries, but on the other hand also local, and therefore we have the local materials and local production, so we do as little harm as possible to the environment. I hear I'm over.
Right. Yes, I hope that coincided with the end of your answer. Yes. Thank you very much for your pitch. Thank you for also answering the jury questions. Next up would be Soda Bottle. Please get your microphone ready, get your camera ready, get your screen share ready, and get yourself ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Victor.
Then, again, the same drill. Once you start your pitch, I will start the timer.
Great. Beautiful. Dear jury, dear fellow CEMSies, thank you a lot for taking your time today. My name is Luca, and on behalf of Soda Bottle, we want to show you why and how we enable our customers to create sparkling water anywhere, anytime, and without plastics. So why without plastics? The world is drowning in plastic. On the left side of the slide, you see how many plastic bottles have been sold since we opened up the page. The number ends up at 1.3 billion plastic bottles sold per day. Roughly every third bottle comes from bottled water. And this is why we seek this opportunity to reduce this amount. So we are creating the Soda Bottle, a reusable water bottle for the on-the-go production of sparkling water. Our concept is quite unique because we have a refillable CO2 tank in our bottom adapter, which our competitors have not, and this makes us more sustainable. So how does our product work? We developed a technical prototype with our customers who value sustainability and innovative lifestyle products. By pushing the button at the bottom of the adapter, you can carbonize water. And with one full gas tank in our soda bottle, you can carbonize up to 10 liters of sparkling water. Once your adapter is empty, you can easily refill it in our refilling station. Our refilling station hereby leverages on existing CO2 gas tank solutions. Therefore, we do not produce any plastic waste and no CO2 cartridge waste. And the production cost of sparkling water lays at only 10 cents per liter for our customers, which is very cheap. Now, let's have a look at our attractive market. We have seen strong developments in the on-the-go consumption of non-alcoholic beverages, such as coffee. Nowadays, every fifth coffee for on-the-go is consumed in a reusable coffee cup. We will replicate this development in the sparkling water market, and this brings our market to 1.2 billion euros in Western Europe only. Let's talk competition. With our USPs, we outshine our threefold competition. Why threefold? We have carbonization devices at home, such as SodaStream. We have portable carbonization devices, such as DrinkMate, which are small in the US. And we have pedaled plastic PET bottles, right, such as San Pellegrino. For the first one, SodaStream, we differentiate through our carbonization on the go. And for DrinkMate and San Pellegrino, we differentiate because we're more sustainable and our production cost of sparkling water is cheaper for our customers. So now Gregor will tell you how we capture value in the market.
Thank you, Luca. And to capture the value of our superior solution, we build our business model based on 3 pillars. The main pillar will be the soda bottle itself. And customers will then be able to choose between a home refilling station where they can refill their soda bottle conveniently at home, or an on-the-go subscription where we hope to increase our customer lifetime value and offer our customers the opportunity to fill up the gas tank at central locations in kiosks and grocery stores. Now, we evaluated the optimal price point for a product to be 70 euros, which would end up then at the 59% gross margin when we consider the production cost of our bottle. We have validated our idea with the first social media marketing campaign, where we gathered over 250 newsletter subscribers and our first social media marketing stats. Now, the next steps will be the product finalization as well as the patenting process, after which we want to start a Kickstarter campaign to validate our idea in the market and then launch in the DACH region to later conquer the European market in an omni-channel approach. Now, we have gathered an interdisciplinary team from students from leading universities such as ETH and the University of St. Gallen, so that we have all the capabilities that we need to drive the project further. We are currently looking for 50,000 euros in funding to finalize the production of the soda bottle, as well as the patenting process to secure our intellectual property and set up online store and marketing. And that's why we want you to join Soda Bottle and help us revolutionize the world of sparkling water for a plastic-free future.
Thank you very much. Again, right on time. Perfect. So we're ready for the next questions from the jury. What do you have in store?
Thank you, guys. A quick question. Have you thought, or do you have any insights why SodaStream hasn't launched a similar offering?
Yes, I mean, we don't have offerings from insights in their internal R&D department, right? But we screened the market pretty well. There are some devices in Asia not going well. In the US, DrinkMate, which is currently coming, and they just launched a product a few weeks ago with single unit cartridges, but nothing else in Europe. And we do not know anything yet from SodaStream, but they just did a product launch, not in that direction.
Okay, well, okay. And I think it's a smart idea, and it makes total sense for you to launch a Kickstarter campaign to really get the feedback also from the market and the community. I would do that as well.
You mentioned that some competitors are not working well, are not doing too well. Do you know why?
I mean, we did not find any numbers in the revenue streams, right? But we believe that the design is bad looking. That's why we want to position ourselves as a premium brand in the customer perception to be a lifestyle product. And also it's not that customer friendly because you always have to carry your cartridges to then have your refilling. One refilling equals one cartridge. And this is why we have a refillable concept, which you can carbonize up to 10 liters. So you maybe have to refill once a week.
Okay.
We have time for at least one more question.
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe on the development process of that product, I mean, how difficult is that for someone to copy? What was the process for you to develop that, let's say, reusable carbonation process?
Christian, are you taking the question?
Yeah, I can take it. So the technical components that are in the bottle, they are actually not too complicated. So we do believe that competitors can quickly redo such a bottle, and this is why we really want to soon protect our IP.
And we launched the patenting process already, therefore, yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks.
We still have a minute left. If there's one more question, shoot away.
What is that you need the most desperately now?
Two things: money to set up our online community, because before the Kickstarter community, we want already have a community such that for the launch of Kickstarter, everyone can sign up on Kickstarter. So we need to acquire a community and engage it. And we need also a producer which fulfills all our requirements for the production of the end product.
Have you estimated the cost, the production cost of the product?
Gregor, can you show this slide in the appendix? We estimate the cost at around 30 euros, which brings our gross margin at around 60%.
I would assume that basically this contact, so basically testing it, is, for example, a kiosk wills to do it, that's also pretty important, I guess, right? Because that's basically the buy-in that you need for your business model.
Yeah, that's a good question, especially because we need that to keep the customer lifetime value high, right? We have seen it with other startups. For example, Chimpy, they have recharging bar for your iPhone. Such that, and obviously we need first a successful Kickstarter campaign to show the kiosks that we have a strong demand in onboarding the kiosks, for example. And otherwise, we can also increase the customer lifetime value by just providing the adapters and refill the adapters and have a subscription model like that.
Chimpy is a good example.
Thank you very
much. Yeah, we are in touch with Andre from Chimpy.
Thank you very much. Your time is up. Thanks for the pitch and thanks for answering the questions. Next up is Synchros DNA. Please get your microphone, camera, and slides ready.
Yeah,
are you there?
Myself, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can.
Hello. Can you hear me properly?
We can hear you. We can hear you properly. I hope
you can also see the presentation.
Well. Yes, we can see your slides. So you know the drill. Yeah. If you start the pitch, I start the timer.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. I'm Nicholas and I'm happy to present to you Synchros DNA, which is a long-term business project in biotech and more precisely in the field of DNA sequencing. First of all, I want to walk you through the journey of a patient with symptoms of an unknown disease. So samples have to be taken from the patient and sent to the laboratory for analysis and observations, which take already quite some time. If the disease is unknown, it's really hard to establish a precise diagnosis and thus prescribe the right treatment for the patient. And this is where DNA sequencing technology has an important role to play. But further, if we manage to reduce the waiting time at the very beginning of this journey, we would allow for more testing and thus provide better and earlier access to treatment. And this is where we want to intervene with a faster DNA sequencing technology. But before I dive further in, I want to make sure that all of you understand what I'm going to talk about. So what is DNA sequencing in a nutshell? It's the action of reading the sequence of pair of bases in the DNA of any living thing. It can be animals, plants, viruses, or bacteria, to determine the structure of the genes and how this structure affects the organism in the end. Coming back to our use case and how to be able to solve its pain points, we want to develop and market a new DNA sequencer instrument. It will rely on a patented process, which is exclusively licensed to Synchros DNA, that would allow us to sequence at a rate 10 times faster than current market option. And in our use case, it would greatly increase the speed of diagnosis. To put some perspective on what it means. At the moment, if you want to sequence one human genome, which is a standard benchmark in the industry, you will have it for $1,000, but you have to wait for 40 hours. If you need it within 1 day, let's say in the case of an emergency, costs can rise as up as $16,000 for 4 hours. What we want to offer is a solution that does it 10 times faster, or comparatively that reduces the cost by 16. So an instrument that would be able to sequence a similar yield in 4 hours only for $1,000. The diagnostic case I just presented to you is just one of the many applications of DNA sequencing. There are actually 4 main domains of applications in academic research: medicine, agriculture, and for the moment, mainly criminal investigations with forensics. So all those themes will have a huge impact in our society in the future. They're part also on the goals of the UN Sustainable Development Goals program. If you look at the market at the moment, it's already quite a big market, valued at 9.1 billion in 2019, with a forecasted compound annual growth rate of about 20%, which values the market at 25 billion in 2025. How do we plan to tackle such markets? So at the moment, we are at the concept stage with a patent. We expect that it would take us at least until 2022 to reach an experimental proof of concept. In the meantime, and this is why I'm pitching to you today, we're actually looking for advisors, potential board members, people with the experience that can guide us through the process of building such a company. Eventually, we're also interested in meeting with business angel for early capital raise. To carry the project, the founding team is composed of Professor Frank Thibaudot, who is a scientist with 25 years of experience in nanobiotechnologies, and who is also the inventor of the patented process. On the business side, myself, a young graduate from business from CEMS, with experience in international operations in the health tech industry. So if you're interested in discussing the project any further, please do not hesitate to reach out directly to me. I'll be happy to answer your questions now.
Thank you very much. right on time. Now again, the jury ready for your questions.
Hi, a question from my side. So you mentioned that the approach that you want to use and build, so basically you would reduce the cost to $1,000 and 4 hours for the analysis. Mm-hmm. So how far has this been actually proven? So what is actually out there? Is it a theoretical concept, the research paper?
Exactly, it is a patent. So it has been patented already because the IP environment is really competitive in biotech, especially in this field. So the patent is owned by public institutions because it's a spin-off from university. So that's been patented really quickly, actually last year already. And at the moment, we need to basically prove that it works experimentally. So, I mean, the metaphor that I like to put is we have the plans to the house, and now we need to build each a separate brick to actually build the house in the end.
And how much would that process cost? I mean, to get from where you are today to industrialization, how much funds do you need to get through that?
To be honest, it's really hard to determine. It depends on how big we want to go, how far we want to go, and how the different sources, if we go only with VCs and investors, or if we go with partnership research, for example. But as a comparison, historically, for companies, this is oligopoly, so not many players in the market, usually they have raised several hundred millions within the 5 to 6 years of the first 5 to 6 years of business before having any revenue for most of them.
Mm-hmm.
What are your hiring plans? So now you showed you and your co-founder. So which are the other roles that, you know, is key to fill, you know, as the next one to actually, I mean, it is a complex project, right? So now there is a R&D person and you, so what would be, you know, the next key hires that you foresee?
The next key hire that we really would need at the moment would be a research engineer to actually conduct this research project to get to the experimental proof of concept, which is a specifically engineered polymerase or a specifically engineered enzyme that will allow us to stage the process actually. And from then on, we will need a lot of hire. I could show you maybe a roadmap, a scientific roadmap, which is a bit too detailed in my opinion, but gives you a bit of an overview that there are a lot of also software, hardware development, some microfluidic, and eventually also industrialization of the process, of the building process. Obviously, we cannot do that alone, and we will have to expand the team really quick and as much as possible. It will mainly depend on our fundings and our capacity, obviously. At the moment, we rather have a lean plan, especially for the start until we reach the proof of concept. And this lean plan would be ready to start with our own funding, eventually maybe some early capital raise from business angels, and hire one person who's going to be in charge of leading this project of the proof of concept experimentation, with my partner Franck Thibaudot, and which is going to be leading, oversighting, let's say, the whole project in its globality, and myself on the business development side.
And do I understand, are you both already full-time on this? Is this
no.
Something you're actively, okay.
No, I'm working full-time. It's still a project, so the legal entity, Synchros DNA, doesn't exist. Right now, it's rather for me to assess the feasibility of the project and if it's even worth moving further. That's on one hand. And on the other hand, the partner, Professor Franck Thibaudot, is not working full-time on this because he still has on this side his university position as a researcher and teacher. But still, a lot of time is dedicated to this project, and the research he's conducting anyway is also dedicated to this project, as it is the follow-up of the patent. So he had some subsidies on this. So research already happening with the university and within the university, but it's not a full-time job at the moment.
Is there other research available that you know with the same objective in mind? Do you have what's the risk in terms of competition?
I mean, the competition is there are different technologies. Sorry, this one is actually the most insightful.
One thing, please, 1 or 2 more sentences for your last answer, and then we have to continue.
Okay, there are very competitive IP. This one has been secured, and the technology is already out there, but the process in the technology is completely new. And the technology, the patents are all either public or will be public within the next couple of years. At least at the moment, they are usable for research in Europe without any problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So if you have any other questions, of course, feel free to reach out to the startups after this event. Thank you for the pitch. and thank you for answering the Q&A. So this concludes our concept stage pitches. And next up, right away, we will dive into the early stage pitches. So first up is Holoid. Please open your camera, open your microphone, and get your slides ready. Are you there? I can't hear you at the moment. Yes, now I can hear you. We can't see your slides at the moment. Could you please start sharing them?
I did. The slides are the background.
There you go. Should be working now.
I think I did.
Okay, Maxime, we are at the moment seeing
else now?
We are at the moment seeing Alvin's screen. Could you please switch over?
So
we have.
I'm gonna need someone else to verify because I'm seeing Peter's screen here.
Now I can see it.
Okay.
Now I can see it. Maybe that was on my end. So Peter, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. When you start the pitch, I will start the timer.
Okay. Hi, my name is Peter van Oosteren. I'm a physicist and I'm an inventor. And today I ate 1 million pieces of plastic. And so did you. Why? Microplastics are everywhere. They're in the water, in the ground, and in the air we breathe. Inevitably, they end up in the crops and on our plate. Researchers would like to answer questions like, where do the microparticles come from? How do they break up? Where are they accumulating? And what effects do they have if they end up in our vital organs? They can use a microscope to make high quality pictures, but unfortunately, this gives you low statistics. To get better statistics, you can use fluorescent particles and a cytometer to count. Cytometers give you an impressive quantity of information, but unfortunately, low quality information. It might miscount particles that are fluorescent for other reasons or misidentify other items in the sample. We at Holoid developed a technique that combines the best of both. We provide high quality information at an impressive quantity, label-free, on all particles. You do not miss anything. You see all the particles in the sample. In addition, we also get dynamics information. We see how the particles move, how fast they sediment, for instance, to determine what density they have and which type of plastic they are made of. We're not limited, though, to look at plastic particles. We can distinguish bacteria, good bacteria in your yogurt or bad bacteria on a dirty hospital floor. We can characterize emulsions and dispersions for industrial applications, and we can look at your cells in a blood analysis. We even see the organelles inside of your cells and, God forbid, the microparticles in there. Holoid will initially sell services and consulting to giants like Bayer, Unilever, and L'Oréal. This will give us access to the important questions in the market, and it will give the customers insights, valuable insights on their samples. We will use the income generated this way to prepare our technique for selling devices and maintenance services. We target the characterization market worth $20 billion or euros. Sorry. Our team combines excellent technological, scientific, and commercial capabilities. I myself am the inventor of the technique. Marcus, also online at the moment, is our CEO, ex-venture capitalist, and Eric is a professor in colloids, and he's a serial founder of academic spin-outs. Holoid provides insights that help making better products in a cleaner world with healthier people in it. We have a prototype, a working prototype. We filed 3 patents, and we plan for market entry early 2021. If you have any questions, would like to talk to us, present us to new people, please reach out.
Thank you very much for your pitch. You know the drill already. As always, I'm starting the timer on the jury questions.
Okay.
Hi, Peter. Thank you. So how would the go-to-market look like? So you showed all the big brand names. So would you sell devices directly to those brands, or how would that work, or what's the plan?
The plan is to first sell services to people in our network, actually, that partially work for these companies, to first sell services. So we have a working prototype, and we would like them to send us samples, and we analyze them for them. This way we gather information on what samples they have, what questions they would like to have answered about their samples. And at the same time, we get our experience on how stable our machine is, and how we can best make it a sellable machine. Obviously, if we grow, we would like to sell machines and maintenance contracts.
Okay, and then when you grow and sell the devices, then you would sell them directly. I guess I'm not aware how the market works. So do you then go through distributors, or how does the go-to-market work at the scale?
This depends a little bit on the scale of us. Small companies selling analytics equipment sell this through retailers, so specialized companies that sell machines in a certain country or a few countries. The really big ones sell directly to the customers. I think this depends on how fast we grow, what is convenient to do. Of course, it's easy to use existing channels.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you could say a little bit more about the application areas. That would be nice. So could you, for example, use that also in material sciences?
Yes, in principle you can. I'm a scientist from the field of soft matter. That is material science. Anything with colloids, small particles dispersed in some material. This you can think about milk or paint or smoke or whipped cream. We can analyze this. The important thing is, for practical purposes, is that the sample be liquid, so we can flow it through and use the machine as a cytometer.
I would have possibly an introduction for you to someone at Bayer in the material sciences space. So
okay, sounds great.
Glad. Thank you for the presentation.
We have 1 more minute, so if there's one more question from the jury, you still have time to ask it.
Maybe for me as a co-founder, one more note on the revenue streams that we target. We start selling analytics services, then want to sell devices, and from these devices there will be service contracts, which means that there will be ongoing recurring revenues at pretty attractive margins for us.
I didn't quite understand if your prospects, your potential customers, do they do anything like that at the moment? Do they look for the information that you would be providing them with, or is that just new information that they don't have access to today?
No, yes, absolutely. At the moment, they spend about 20 billion euros a year to characterize the emulsions or the dispersions they work with, using microscopes and cytometers. And we combine the best of both, which gives more information. It, for instance, tells you if you have a dispersion that is bluish, you can see why, which subgroup of particles causes this.
Thank you very much. The time is up. So thank you for presenting and thank you for answering the questions. Next up is Metarina. Please open your camera, open your microphone and get your slides ready. Are you there?
Yes, Victor, thanks.
Wonderful, perfect. We can see your screen, we can hear you. Are you ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, perfect. Same the other way around. When you start, I start the timer.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for having us. We're very excited. I'm Henry, and I'll tell you a little bit about Metarina in the next 3 minutes. So Let's go back in time a little first. This is me working off the coast of Corsica a little bit more than a year ago now. And at that time, I was the absolute lowest ranking crew member. And because of that, I was in charge of organizing the berth reservations. So a berth is a spot in a marina, almost like a parking space. Let me tell you, when I worked there, this was probably the most challenging time I have experienced in my life, because it's a very unusual type of physical exhaustion that you experience in such an unusual setting. But the actual pain, the real hassle of that job was trying to get in touch with marinas every day to organize a berth. And I guess that's why everyone in the crew was super eager to pass that job on to me when I boarded the ship. So this is where I had the initial spark for the idea behind our company, which I'm pitching to you right now. And at that point, I made it my mission to make communication and building relationships between marinas and yachters on the other side easier than ever before. So why is this communication such a disaster, right? To put it in very simple terms, there's just no reliable option to book a berth, and providing the required information, even if you're an expert, is very difficult. And why is that the case? Because on the marina side, there's still a maze of manual administration and no real means of customer management. So during my master's in innovation entrepreneurship, I talked to all sorts of market participants in the industry to understand this problem more in depth. And validation has shown that the core of these problems is rooted in the information and transaction exchange between these two sides that I described. So essentially what we do at Metarina is we provide yachting enthusiasts of really any level with a super easy booking app that you can have right in your pocket. And on the other side, and this is the key, marina managers with a highly automated management software. So let's have a quick look. This is our, in my opinion, beautiful voyage planning app. You can soon request a berth in any marina in Catalonia and in the Balearics, which is our test market. And then we will gradually move throughout the whole Mediterranean Sea. One more key thing here is that the platform can integrate many more services within the individual marinas, which yachters then of course can book. But on the other side, the marinas have an opportunity to upsell. So this is how we help then the other side. The marinas organize their facility and optimize their utilization. In the current version of the desktop solution, which you see on the left-hand side, you can already see how bookings are automated. But they can also still be tailored to individual needs through the chat function, which remains at the heart of our platform. This is essential because we do want to automate, but still maintain an individual and personal level, which is important in that industry. On the right-hand side, you can see a feature on top of that, which is the mobile view for the on-site personnel that can always check the current arrivals and departures, allowing them to attend to their guests at a higher level. So this is the catch. Both these tools work together. So when a yachter decides where to go, the marina already knows who's coming. So it doesn't get much worse when you're already in a marina like the one in the background, Bonifacio in the south of Corsica, where we entered. And there's no spot for you after a long day at sea, and you have to go back out and look for another space somewhere else. So solving this issue poses a great business opportunity. Through a subscription-based software for the marina side, we have a very strong recurrent revenue base. And to reach even higher revenues, there's a commission model on the B2C side, so on the yachter side, that accelerates the bottom line. So with each acquired marina customer, there's thousands of bookings per year that occur on the platform that help to grow our business. So giving us a unique opportunity in making this market highly attractive, especially if we look at it from a bottom-up perspective. And on top of that, we've been working with a triple layer business model canvas. So we're also considering ecological and social factors from the get-go. Before we get to the end, let me show you what makes us unique. So the top right quadrant of this graphic symbolizes the integration of both high-end booking and, on the other side, advanced marina automation. And hardly anyone has managed to connect these essential dots to solve that problem. So we are setting the bar at a whole new level. To build this business, I've gathered a team that is able to tackle this problem from all relevant angles. Let me quickly introduce you to them. There's Leon. He's a highly experienced developer, also in this call, just like Nicolas, and a teacher at the prestigious Le Wagon Bootcamp. Then there's Nicolas. She's climbed through the ranks to become a chief mate. So she's able to maneuver ships up to 3,000 tons and getting more and more licenses as we speak. And then there's me. I have experience in several platform startups and consulting. And as I told you, a degree in innovation and entrepreneurship. at my CEMS home school in Barcelona. So to finish off, our first release is about to be announced later this week. So these are very exciting times for us, and we have first customers lined up to start testing the platform.
I have to cut you off. I'm sorry, just
at
to
our
be
website.
fair.
Yes, fine. Happy to take questions. Good timing.
All good. Thank you very much. You made good use of your time. Now again, I hand it over to the jury for the questions.
Yeah, please do.
The product looks great. Just a question: is it mostly on smartphone? Is it an app, or do you have a?
So the boater side is mainly an app, but it from the get-go is able to be used on all kinds of devices. So when you look at a more corporate level, looking at charter companies, for example, that plan routes for several types of several boats, they also have a desktop version of the Yotter side application.
Have you you probably know the market a little bit from your personal experience? Tell us, I mean, what are we talking about? What's a typical marina manager like?
So your question's already hinting in that area. It's a very conservative market, but you see that there's a shift happening right now. The trend is finally going towards more digitalization, but even more importantly, to a more customer-centric ideology. So we're at the right time. I think if we would have been 5 years prior to now, it would have been very complicated to kind of get these marinas to start a change process. But these old-fashioned kind of people who are working in a very conservative industry are gradually changing and obviously handing it over to a newer generation that is adapting these kind of solutions in all types of areas within the marina.
Thank you.
Henry, thank you so much for the presentation. There is already, I mean, I know the market a little bit, and my question is, I mean, you need to connect to all of the existing charter booking platforms there is already. So there's big ones in Croatia, there's big ones in France and in some other countries. So would you use that data from them as well? Would you try to integrate this? And how will you actually have that data when you have already basically a berth that is already given to someone else, for example, rented out, and you have just a short lease? How is this updated when, for example, other renters, so the regular renters, are coming, for example, unknowingly, so spontaneously in their own berth?
So there's two sides to the question. We're also talking to Globe Sailor, one of the biggest charter companies with, I think, a fleet of up to 35,000 ships. And we're in conversation with them how to really utilize on the data that they already have. So this is an ongoing process, which is a bit more complex to describe now, how we're making them part of the equation. But to answer the second part of the question, as I told you, we still want to consider that there's a whole lot of short-term decisions being made, ships still coming in on short notice, etc. So we're giving the marina tools to be able to tackle this as well. So it's not only an automation on people who want to book in advance, but it's also giving the marina personnel tools to adjust manually and welcome short-term visitors at the same time. And these two features, so the automatic booking from a yachter directly or from a yachter coming in and talking to the personnel on site, goes hand in hand.
I mean, I would assume that there is already quite some prevailing data, and the critical will be for you to basically bring in all this data that exists. So yes, the charter company I know, but for example, there is, for example, in Croatia, Nausis, they also have 50,000 on their platform. So basically I would be, and that's a detailed question you don't need to answer, but how do you put this all together? And how do you start first, and how much money this would cost, obviously?
But no, I think it's a great question, because this is why we do, although we're careful with that term, describe ourselves as a platform, because at the end of the day, the real efficiency increases can be achieved if more and more parts of the industry are onboarded on the platform. So right now we're really focusing on building the bridge between the yachter side and the marina side to organize this berth problem, right? But like you said, there's charter companies and also software companies like Nausis, and getting them on board, not necessarily by replacing them straight away, but building APIs is definitely an essential part of the strategy for 2021.
Thank you very much. Your time is up. Thanks for the pitch.
Thanks for having
And
us.
thank you for answering the questions. We are moving on to our next early stage startup pitching, and that is Senjin. Please open your camera, open your microphone, and get your slides ready. Just a quick note before we start with Senjin. There was shortly on the live stream for the people out there, I think the first 2 or 3 slides you couldn't see, but we saw them here, and the jury also saw the slides here in the Zoom call, so no worries about that. The next one should work as planned for the viewers out there. So Senjin, are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you see everything?
Yes, we can see your slides. We see your slides in the presenters mode, so we also see the next slide coming up. If you would like to quickly change that, feel free to take a couple of seconds for that.
How would that work?
If you would like to take more time, we can also move up the next team. That looks good.
Yeah, awesome.
That looks good. Thank you very much. When you start, I start the timer.
All right. So thanks so much for having me. I'm Marita. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Sanguine Suits. And I don't know if you knew this, but women's business fashion is actually a big, big problem. And I've had to learn this the hard way, actually. When I started out my career in management consulting after graduation, I was running around. I couldn't really find anything to wear. It was, it was terrible, actually. It's either too expensive or too cheap, and then it doesn't really fit. It ultimately is not really fun to shop. The designs are not really made for young women in mind, and most likely it's not produced very ethically. So ultimately it doesn't leave you very confident. And so we decided to do it ourselves. We created a brand that is the go-to place for young female professionals to really accelerate and support them in climbing their careers, to give them a business wear brand that they can just trust and go to and really be confident in who they are. We want to dress the women of the future, and we believe that women are already empowered, and we want to dress them accordingly in making it in a fair price, making them functional, and really, modern designs in mind for them. And so we think that there's a huge opportunity. There are millions and millions of women that feel that way all over the world. And for us, we have identified our market, our total addressable market, to be 135 billion euros per year, and drilled that down to our serviceable addressable market of 8 billion per year. And for the next 5 years, we have identified of what we want to grow into and be able to manage in our own supply chain to amount to our serviceable obtainable market of 43 million euros per year. And looking into our competition, we have kind of put them into 3 different buckets. There's obviously the large multi-purpose fashion brands that everybody really knows. Then there's the large multi-purpose high-end brands on the more expensive side. And then there's a couple of brands that would tackle the issue a bit in more workwear focused brands that do tailor to women, but you really need to look for them and find them. Starting out, you don't really know, and they're not everywhere to find. So, and more in the premium section. So we decided, or we found that ranking on those different dimensions that we identified to be the most important factors is where we position ourselves, and that is where we can fill that market gap. And where are we today? So we launched earlier this year in April 2020 our first collection and the online shop. And since then, I really used the year to launch and learn and be established and get a grip on the market and where we are. We successfully completed a crowdfunding campaign before that, and managed to generate revenues close to 20,000 euros year to date, and grow our team to 5 people. So that's 2 founders and 3 additional team members. And it's needless to say that COVID-19 impacted us as a workwear brand, but we really used the time to reassess our market and the product fit. We did tons of focus groups and talked to our customers directly, and used this as sort of a clean slate to understand and really shape the future of female workwear, and are now at a stage where we use and want to grow throughout the next year and use pre-seed funding to do so. Who are we? So I'm Marita. I co-founded Sanguine together with my co-founder Svenja, And together we're leading Sanguine as a strong power duo. And out of the typical hustler, hipster, hacker triumvirate you normally find in startups, I'm more of the hustler, hipster combination, whereas Svenja is more on the hustler, hacker skill set. And we both actually met in CEMS during our year at LSE in 2017. Both then started our careers in management consulting. So we really know the target audience, our customers, because we've been there. It was our own experience. We really understand how to target them and where they are. And so that makes us the perfect people for the job, I would say. And we think there's a huge opportunity, as I said before, there's millions and millions of women that feel the same way. And we are here to fill that market gap. We want to disrupt how fashion is done and how women dress for work and how, yeah, the next generation of female leaders are dressed. So as I said, we're in a pre-seed situation. We're looking currently for investment in the size of €250,000. And yeah, looking forward to staying in touch and connecting and talking about our business. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your pitch. With that, I hand it over again to the jury for your questions.
Thank you, Marita. A question from my side. So what do you see as the biggest challenge for you within the next 12, 18 months, and how you are going around that?
So as said before, one of the biggest challenges is definitely to really get the new products. So we've hired a new designer that we're working on to really get the next product into collection, because the first one is quite, as you can see also from the photos, it's a bit more on the conservative side and really for a market that was more on the pre-COVID focused, and really focusing now to get the collection right and to get that, use the investment money to then be able to pre-finance the next collection and really get the get into the product market fit again. And in connection with that, obviously then connected to the right marketing efforts into reaching our target audience.
What's your distribution strategy? Online, offline?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we're a D2C brand, right? So we sell through our own online shop. And with that, however, have identified obviously throughout the last year that especially with business wear, women want to see and feel the suits especially. And so through some offline events, we saw that that is a really good combination. So on the online side, we have identified that there's obviously the direct to customer channel. Then we're going to be launching a package solution where we are in touch, or where previous customers are going to have the opportunity to then be sent a package that is a proven concept that's actually done with from other fashion brands as well, where you receive a package, you're then able to select from your pieces and then be able to keep them or send them back. And that is a very good concept that we're trying or are planning to implement as well. And then have obviously also the offline component that is going to be paired with the D2C online efforts. So through pop-up events, through regular events, whatever it may be, but it's really the combination of the two that's going to make the magic work.
Thank you so much, Marita, for your presentation. So later we hear from Johannes Heinrich actually how you can do this with online and offline. So maybe you look at View. But my question is, I've seen some stuff in fashion. How do you produce, and what's your strategy, and what's the economics behind that? Because that's in the end kind of what is driving pretty much the value for your financials.
Yes, absolutely. So that's obviously something that's very noticeable with the minimum order quantities that you have with a lot of the production houses. And the more you can produce, that also reduces your unit economics, obviously, right? So for us, it's very important. We are a very conscious brand in terms of sustainability. So that is always it's a bit of a two-edged sword also in terms of not overproducing, because that is then again not sustainable. So we are really, in terms of relying on analytics in terms of what we produce and how much of which we produce, which was also the strategy for the first collection, to really get smaller quantities out there to test the market, to see which sizes and also what fits and what the customers react to better. But in terms of that, is really it has been so far a learning process, and is going to develop into something where we can really base it off of pre-orders. That is a model that we are trying to implement as well, where you offer pre-order options, so you actually know how much to order of which. And then definitely have the collection.
What would you produce?
Excuse me?
In what countries would you produce?
So currently we produce in Lithuania.
Quick injection here, please. Keep it short, just 2 or 3 more sentences. We are already over the time. Thank you.
Okay. Currently we produce in Lithuania, which has been proven as a really good production country for us.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will move on now. So thanks for your pitch and also for answering the questions, of course. Next up, our last but not least startup pitch is from CEMS. Are you there? Please open your microphone and open your camera.
Yes,
Hi.
it's Joe from CEMS. Hello together.
Great to hear you. Please get ready to share your slides and get ready to start your pitch. I will let you know once we see your slides. There they are. Wonderful. As always, you have 5 minutes. When you start the pitch, I start the timer.
Nice, thank you. So hello together, this is CEMS, and we are connecting companies with the future. Why is this needed? Because companies really don't understand Generation Z. Products and services fail because companies don't know anymore what young consumers want. Marketing and communication fails as well because they use the wrong language on the wrong platforms. And the main problem is that they talk about Gen Z and not with Gen Z. So we identified that even though the target group is between 14 and 25 years old, every person in the project team of companies are above 30 years old. And we want to change that. And for this reason, we actually gathered the most outstanding young talent in Switzerland, which we bring into companies to help them engage a young audience. So for example, Marie-Claire Graf is like the Swiss Greta, super deep into the sustainability and climate topic. Stefan Kaspar, he won 2nd place in the Hyperloop Challenge. Eli and Michel are great influencers like others on this slide as well. And they are just a huge value for companies to help them. So what is our business model? It's actually pretty simple. We scout the best Gen Z talents and hire them for around 30 euros an hour, which is a pretty good price. And then they go into companies and work on projects and are like the company pay between 110 to 210 euros per hour. So basically we give talented people a pipeline of interesting projects and companies access to outstanding talent. And we target a 100 euro per hour contribution margin for project acquisition, project definition, and project supervision. When we look at what is actually the market we're working in, companies today, they are using 3 different consultancies to achieve what we can do alone. So they work with a marketing consultancy, with a strategy consultancy, and with an innovation consultancy. And we are actually in a super interesting market because Gen Z accounts for 30% of the population, which means it's super relevant for companies to really engage them and capture them as customers. We founded our company in February 2020 in Zurich, Switzerland, and we already closed 9 projects with major companies from insurance to marketing to construction side. We earned over 25,000 euros to date, and in our pipeline for 21 are already over 300,000 euros. We have collaborations with companies like Samsung and others. We did our first hire already in August 2020. And we are recognized experts. We're invited, for example, to the Swiss Economic Forum or the Schweizer Markenkongress as speakers. And we've built a pretty strong brand, 100% organically. So when you look at our social channels, we actually have a really nice reach towards young people and also towards company where we have a really nice sales funnel through LinkedIn. When we look at the media traction, this is just a selection. We've been in every newspaper there is in Switzerland, and also in the really big television stations. who are we, the founders of CEMS? It's my co-founder Joel on the right side and myself on the left side. And just today, we got actually in the Forbes 30 under 30 list. And what are we looking for? We need money for building a platform where we can match our talents more efficiently with projects. We look also for advisors, so people who understand the scale up of an agency, and especially for contact. So if you know any managers we should talk with us. And also we already worked with venture capital companies to advise them on what to invest that Generation Z cares about. Thank you very much, and now open to questions.
Thank you for the pitch. And now for a final and last time, I hand it over to the jury for your questions.
Hi, Joe, good to see you, and congrats on the award. I wanted to ask, so what has been the initial feedback from the customers you worked together with this summer? So do you see them returning with other projects? And then the second question is, what does it take for you then to launch into new countries?
Yeah, thank you very much, Eva. Thank you also for the congratulations. It's quite a crazy day today. So regarding our customers, so a lot of the initial projects, right, they were rather on a smaller scale to really understand the problems they have and give them first advices, also in, like, for example, workshops. And now bigger projects are actually coming in for year 2021. This is why also the pipeline is quite large, also because we're capturing a nice part of the marketing budgets there. So this works pretty well. Customers come back for bigger projects. And regarding your second question, yeah, we're very focused on Switzerland at the moment to like really just become the #1 player there, and also because there are a lot of companies in need of our help. But then I think going to Germany and going to Austria is quite an easy step. We're already in touch with many talents, since our talent base is our advantage that we have. So we're building this already, and for the step we're probably going to take within the scope of 1 to 2 years with Germany and Austria.
And can I ask, I mean, based on the existing projects that you've done, I mean, what are the concrete, let's say, unique insights and aspects of that made this a unique proposition that you provide the clients? Like, what are the key takeaways from these engagements?
Yes. So I think one very relevant thing is that the people in our network, and they are just amazing and understand their certain area super well, which they can transition into companies, which is a knowledge they have no access to in any other way. So the only thing they were like actually educating themselves about young consumers were through, I don't know, like some research papers or something. So this is like true feedback from your target audience. That's one part. And the other thing is that we developed to actually see that companies need our help further than just consulting. So for example, with TikTok, just naming one thing, companies are not able to like build their own TikTok channels, and now we are doing it for them. So we're actually scouting people who are really like nicely working with TikTok, and then companies outsource their whole channel because it's very something Gen Z related, and they just don't get it.
We have time for one more question.
Can I, if there's no one else, I would take it.
Go for it.
Thank you, Joe. Very impressive. Congratulations as well. Sorry, time is running. Basically, what do you do when your basically crowd of people is dying out?
So you mean when Gen Z is not very relevant anymore, or?
So basically, you know, how do you make sure that your business model is continuing, right? You basically youth innovation is basically your big topic, right? I totally get it. I totally see it. No question about it. But sorry, I'm very boring, but I would like to know whether you're still there in 10 years.
Yeah, I understand. So Generation Z is now between 10 and 25 years old, right? So they will be super relevant for quite some time. But obviously, what we do as a company is to integrate always younger people from the younger generations. Once, for example, Generation Alpha gets very relevant, or also, for example, in areas which we, the people already inside, don't understand that well. For example, now we collaborate with someone for the esports topic, which is something we don't like or super familiar with. So we always get the knowledge, and then also when we target the new generation, we'll just have younger people working with us.
This horrible clock of Victor was already active. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Christoph.
I hope, did you get the last two sentences, or should you repeat it?
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Sorry, nothing against your clock at all.
No, all good, all good. Thank you very much. That concludes our pitching session. Thank you for the pitch, and thank you for answering the question. And that also concludes the time I will shock you with this noise when the pitches are over. So thank you very much, everyone, for pitching. Thank you, the jury, for listening and asking questions. What's going to happen next? So now I would like to ask the jury to, in their Zoom account or in their Zoom window, to move over to the jury room for the jury session. So I'll meet you there in a couple of minutes to deliberate on who will be the winner for the 2 tracks. And for the rest of the teams, please stay here in this channel. Now we will have the 2 speakers giving their holding their talks, and we will be back with the jury afterwards. And now I'll hand it over to Alvin to also introduce you to our separate jury that we have outside of the 4 jury members that you just heard to asking the questions.
Yes, indeed, because we have everyone here on the call following the live stream who can participate in the tasks that the jury are going to take part in right now as well. So yeah, you're required or requested or kindly asked to give your vote, pick your favorite team and support them with your vote. There is a 10-minute restriction on the voting window, so it's now open for 10 minutes. So there's no point in spamming all your friends about this. But still, everyone who watches and follows our discussion here can vote, and please do that before the jury then comes back and we announce the winners both from the jury and from the audience voting. We'll now move on with some insights from speakers. All of them are actually CEMS alumni themselves, and they're going to share with us some stories from their professional life, from their experience in the startup world, and talk about some interesting learnings that might be very relevant for some of our startups here as well. We're going to start off with Johannes Heinrich from View, who's going to talk about the learnings that he made or they made as a fashion company in the eyewear industry, and their path from a pure online player to actually becoming a true omni-channel player. Second in line would have been Niels van Doren. Unfortunately, his entrepreneurial life keeps him so busy that he won't make it tonight. But we're very happy that Jessica Holzbach is going to join as a 3rd speaker and share her insights on how to raise your first million as an entrepreneur. Yeah, with that being said, I would like to kick that off and give you a brief introduction on Johannes' background. So thank you very much for being here. And quickly about yourself, I think to give the audience a bit of an overview on what you did and what your experience is. So you yourself, you completed CEMS at the University of St. Gallen and Rotterdam, then worked at BCG for 6 years, and after your time in strategy consulting, joined the Swiss-based eyewear company View, first as an early member of the management team in Germany, taking over responsibility for the whole country, I believe, and then later on in the Switzerland, in the headquarters as CFO. And yeah, with that being said, please, over to you, Johannes.
Thanks, Alvin, and thank you for introducing me. Obviously, Now you're taking away a bit of my presentation, but I'm happy that I got a proper intro. Let me just share my slides. And then, you will need to stop sharing before I can share. Here we go. Let me just, so now everyone should be able to see it full screen, right? Okay, yeah, perfect. I'll see Alvin nodding. Perfect. That's excellent. Well, so first and foremost, yes, my name is Johannes, and I'm going to talk about our learnings on building an omnichannel business model in the eyewear space. I wanted to start with a couple of things about myself, but Alvin has already said a couple of things about me already. So what's new? I was the CFO at View up until 2 weeks ago. My motives for changing careers and my new adventures ahead are a story for a different day, but I'm extremely proud of what we built at View, and I'm happy to share our story today. I'm going to skip over most of it, but I guess what's important is I built our entities in Germany and Austria to a size of 15 stores and about 100 people. And then I moved on into the position as a CFO. I think from an entrepreneurial perspective, the country manager role was what gave me that entrepreneurial experience, and I still draw from it today. As Alvin had said, my toolkit comes from the Boston Consulting Group. There I worked in financial institutions and moved on to retail and consumer goods. And before that, I had a very intense CEMS history, from acting as CEMS club president in St. Gallen to representing the University of St. Gallen in the CEMS student board. I really took every opportunity the program offered to me to gain new insights and experiences. But today we're talking about View, so I'm skipping this. View is among the strongest contenders in the direct-to-consumer eyewear business in Europe. But why did we get into eyewear in the first place? I want to share 3 figures with you today that should help explaining. 80 billion, 20-fold, and 5%. Now, as you might have guessed already, 80 billion is the global annual market for prescription eyewear alone. This excludes contact lenses and sunglasses, but obviously presents quite an opportunity in itself. While the production side of the market is fairly consolidated, the distribution side of the eyewear business is still very much fragmented. That's why the average optician in the DACH region sells 1.5 pairs of glasses per day and employee. And in turn, that's also why corrective eyewear is so extraordinarily expensive for the end consumer, because retailers have to earn a hefty cash margin to cover their operating costs. The high consumer prices lead to a peculiar consumer behavior. While the average consumer buys 5 to 7 pairs of shoes per year, they only replace their corrective glasses every 4.5 years. So 20 times as many new pairs of shoes as new pairs of glasses, which also drives the way we as consumers look at the purchase of glasses. Don't be too daring with the color or shape, we tell ourselves. It will have to last for a long time. We treat it as a purchase of a medical product rather than a fashion statement. And that's for View to change with a more attractive price point, but even more importantly, with a more attractive product offering. This brings us to 5%. Everybody talks about the last decade's shift from bricks and mortar to e-commerce. And while this is true for a number of categories, this hasn't really happened for eyewear. As of today, only 5% of the corrective eyewear market moves online. And this is due to a number of technological barriers that need to be overcome. I will only mention the online eyesight test at this point, but there are plenty more, and I will get into them into more detail later. Yet obviously an inviting online presence and a seamless customer journey from online to offline obviously presents an opportunity in this market. And that's also what we built on for View. So this summarizes why we are active in the eyewear space. The approach we've chosen is a direct-to-consumer business model with a strong focus on the design and quality of our products. We understand our positioning as affordable luxury, meaning we offer highest quality products at an entry price of about 165 euros, including high-end corrective lenses. High quality for VIO also means transparent production and authentic craftsmanship. And this is why all of our acetate frames and the vast majority of all of our frames are manufactured in the Italian Dolomites. Our titanium models are manufactured in Japan. The facilities of our original production partners can be seen in the slide you're looking at right now. It's a small family-owned business that has supported us from the start. So where do we stand today? We sell significantly more than 100,000 pairs of glasses per year. We operate 50+ stores across Europe. Our customers are extremely happy, and that's why we maintain a Net Promoter Score of 82. If you don't know what a Net Promoter Score is, go look it up because it's quite important with consumer products. And above all, and although you will hear me talk about our challenges in the e-commerce side of the business, more than half of our customers start their journey through one of our online channels. Now, how did we end up where we are today? I'll try to take you through our timeline, considering how we leverage the available sales channels, what vision we started off from originally, and how we incorporated our learnings along the way. VIO was founded in August of 2013, and we originally had a very online-focused approach. Our idea was to sell glasses exclusively online, but provide customers with the opportunity to try on our glasses either through the Try at Home package, where a customer would home order 4 frames for 4 days free of charge, or the chance to try on correction eyewear frames in selected fashion concept stores and then order them through iPads that we had provided to those stores. I guess you can already spot the complication and potential barriers and breaks in the customer journey. Let's just say we still offer the Try at Home packages, and that's also then maybe a good tip out to one of the presenters on female business fashion. But correction eyewear however, is no longer sold through fashion concept stores. That was one of our early learnings. We didn't really have time to collect and process the negative feedback from the fashion concept stores because we had already made out a new sales channel. In December of 2013, we were invited to participate in a pop-up store concept in an alternative shopping area in Zurich, and the customer feedback was amazing. For the first time, our customers were able to see our full collection and try on all glasses while receiving at least some sort of qualified consultation on what to look for when buying glasses. So we did the consultation ourselves, and obviously we're not opticians, so it was only sort of qualified, but it helped. Here's a picture from that early event. It's almost 8 years ago. You can see it probably. So we immediately acted upon the positive feedback and decided to look for a permanent showroom in Zurich, which we opened in April of 2014 in Zurich Grüngasse. We originally had thought that we would have the occasional visit from a customer and could use the rest of our time to continue to work on our online presence and the business itself. Quickly turned out that the overwhelming majority of our Zurich customers were more comfortable buying the glasses in store with capable advice from an actual optician. This led us to looking for an additional location in Switzerland to expand our business, which we found in Basel. At the same time, most of our customer acquisition came through word of mouth, as well as native PR content and events. The local press loved our homegrown story and pushed us frequently. And our online marketing efforts at that time were really making baby steps as we had very limited budgets and expertise. Here's a picture of the first store. Behind that wall was our actual office. So it was cramped when we became 8 people, but this is how we got started. By end of 2014, we'd learned that customers were more comfortable buying in store, but could be attracted through public relations and creative, yet limited online and offline marketing activities and events. So our way to scaling was through additional stores, which is what we focused on from 2015 to 2017. We continued to build our base in Switzerland and ventured into Germany, only to learn that German customers were more demanding than our Swiss customers had been. While we started quite successfully with outsourcing of our eyesight tests to our partners in Switzerland, this model didn't work in Germany and Austria. So we needed to adapt and offer it ourselves. Also, our events saw more volatile success rates outside of Switzerland. So we intensified our online marketing efforts with a higher budget and help from several online marketing agencies. This is our first store in Berlin, in Potsdamer Straße. This is 3.5 tons of Greek marble. This is our store in Wien Neubaugasse. To date, one of our most successful stores. So in 2018, we completed a larger financing round to continue along our growth path and also to double down on our online sales. We built a dedicated online marketing team and invested even more budget into customer acquisition. However, the results were not fully convincing. What we had yet to realize was that we were still pushing our customers to convert online, which, given the multiple barriers of buying correction eyewear online, like the lack of direct optical consultation, so you have no optician to talk to, and the lack of an online eyesight test, you might have an outdated result. So it's difficult for you to get updated glasses, and the lack of the actual feel of the frame when you're trying it on virtually, because there is virtual try-on, but it's no actual try-on, was just too much to ask of our customers. So we had to better understand the capabilities and limitations of the online channel. While it is a fantastic way to get our customers acquainted with our brand and the products, it still does not allow for an easy conversion of leads. This is why the communication online needs to be geared much more towards pushing our customers into stores, while at the same time allowing for more customer reactions to individual customer needs. More customized reaction to individual customer needs. So are they in the proximity of a store and can easily drop by? That's when we try to convert to push to store. Or should they be offered a try at home package to get a feel for the physical quality of the products? That's if they're further away from a store. Or have they maybe already been to a store and now want to convert online? Then obviously you should also create that opportunity for them. We call this a channel agnostic perspective on offering our customers a seamless customer journey online and offline. And this is what we currently work on, and this is what we're trying to continue to improve and optimize. That should pretty much bring me to my 10 minutes. Now that I have more than 10 minutes, we can actually open for a Q&A. I anyways want to thank you all for your attendance and time, and I look forward to the announcement of the winners.
Yeah, thank you very much for your insights. I'm sure that's very helpful for some of our listeners here, and definitely very interesting for all of us. Yeah, maybe quickly, one or two questions from my side. You mentioned skill set as one of the important points also on your personal journey, and you said there that you acquired your skills both at your time at BCG and then afterwards during a country manager at ForView in Germany. If you would compare those two skill sets, how would that comparison look like? Like, how do they float into each other?
Well, I mean, so the skill set you build at a consulting company, and I mean, obviously I can only speak for BCG, but I guess it's the same everywhere, is your analytical skill set, right? And presentation skills in front of like very important people. What you don't learn and what you'll never learn is managing people, because everybody that works in a consulting company is like internally driven, super productive, and a high performer. And so managing people is the most important skill you learn when you when you start up with like any company, and it's something that you cannot so easily pick up in a consulting company. That's, I think, that's the biggest difference. I mean, I would never trade in my time at BCG. I think it was an important step of my life, but I also would argue that I have never learned as much as in my first couple of years with View, because yeah, I mean, when you set up on your own and you have to start solving problems, then that's when you really learn a lot.
Very interesting, and I'm sure because historically CEMS and consulting, that goes very well, and with entrepreneurship that's the case as well. So yeah, good to see and good to hear that those skills are actually quite complementary. So very interesting. Maybe more about the business model of View and selling and the points of selling now, because I think that's also one of the very special characteristics of View itself. So you said that the customer needs diverge a bit between Switzerland and Germany as well, and that sometimes selling is done more online and in other countries more offline. What's actually the case now for you? Is the online selling part gaining importance, or is it still more offline focused?
So for us, offline continues to be the most important channel, at least for conversion. As I said, I think we acquire a lot of customers online, but conversion, just because of the physical test. I mean, the eyesight testing in stores is still very important. I think on a global scale, obviously this will move at some point because there is already online eyesight tests available, but there's a long way to that because there's a number of regulations in between, like offering a functional online eyesight test and then getting it approved by the necessary bodies in the individual countries. I think Central Europe, there is probably going to be a couple of steps behind the US and Asia to some degree. So the market here is more protected, but it will move that way. And then the category will start to move more online. But currently, I mean, everybody is struggling to sell online, even like large players like Mr. Specs, who were among the first movers in Europe. I mean, they're building out their store network as a reaction to their, let's say, limited success in selling online.
All right. Yeah, let's see where this online journey takes us. I'm certain that also in the eyewear market, there's still some potential that more moves online. But thank you very much, Johannes, for joining tonight. Thank you very much for your insights. Really amazing. And
I mean, if anybody's interested in beautiful, high quality eyewear, make sure to check out shopvio.com. And yeah, of course, if anybody of the participant has like explicit questions to me, my contact details are on the slide, and then otherwise probably in the alumni directory. I'm not so sure, but I'm guessing they should be up to date. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. All right, now, since Niels unfortunately wasn't able to join, let's continue with Jessica Holzbach. She is our last speaker for today, and I think that hopefully after her talk, the jury is also ready to announce the winners for today. Nonetheless, very excited what she has to share. She also gained experience in consulting and in the banking industry before she actually founded a food tech startup. And in the process of doing so, she had to open a business bank account, which was quite cumbersome and annoying. And ultimately, that led her to her business idea of tackling this challenge and creating a simple and easy banking solution for small and medium-sized companies. And that's what she now does with Penta. Obviously, that is not right here on our slides. She works at Penta. They have raised over 40 million in venture capital and serve over 30,000 clients in Berlin. But let's hand over to you, Jessica. Thank you very much for joining.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me and for having me. I'm also gonna share my screen.
Yes.
In a second.
There we go.
Exactly. Before you see my crazy calendar. Like this. Okay, do you all see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you everyone for inviting me. I'm the co-founder of Penta. I'm super happy to be here. Mainly, this was a perfect introduction, so thanks for this. One thing that is important to me is I was also participating in the CEMS Entrepreneurship Challenge in 2016, and it was exactly with the food startup that we back then founded. And I really loved the experience back then. It helped me a lot. I was connected with a lot of different founders that afterwards started companies, and also investors that we kept in touch with over the next 4 years. So it's really an amazing format, and helped me a lot, even though the company completely failed. This didn't mean much. So why, yeah, this first company failed, and I want to give you the obligatory 3 minutes intro about me and the company that I founded. I am currently there as a chief customer officer, so responsible for marketing, sales, and customer relations. And the reason that we founded Penta together with 4 co-founders actually in the beginning was that banking was absolutely a mess back then. 2016, banking sucked. You couldn't even open a bank account online. You had to go to the branch. It was a nightmare, and most of the times they didn't even want your money. So we set out to change this, and from this initial idea of building a better and more customer-centric bank, Penta was actually born. Yeah, we raised this 40 million in venture capital. We're currently around 130 employees based in Berlin and Belgrade, and it's been a real journey. And today I'm invited to talk to you about an interesting topic, and it's about how to raise your first million. So not the second and the third, but your first. And this will be mainly, I am going to cover 3 different areas. On the one hand, why you should raise money and all. On the other hand, how much and when you should raise it, and then gonna wrap it up with a short intro about the process. So why would you need to raise money? I am speaking to a lot of first-time founders, and I think it is always quite cool to say you raised venture capital, but you should really ask yourself what you need the money and the funds for. So most of the times, companies that want to tackle a big market and that need to grow fast need also venture capital money. But there are also other options. You could, for example, bootstrap your company. You could go out to crowdfunding. It really depends on the business model that you want to do. So usually, if you have a case in which you need to grow very fast, you need to spend money on basically customer acquisition, then raising money is the option for you. It's also a lot of times when you are doing a business that needs an upfront investment. For example, in our case at Penta, we obviously needed to first build a product that covers the basic infrastructure of banking. So we were actually, I think, 1 year developing a product, which is quite long for a tech company, before we actually launched. So I would say every company that tackles a big market and that needs to finance growth beyond the capabilities that you and maybe your family and friends have need to raise venture capital money. And then usually you use it for financing growth. This could be in terms of hiring key employees, especially tech is always expensive, or if it is in terms of customer acquisition. When to raise money, that is, I don't know if ever one of you spoke to investors, one of the favorite sayings they have when they don't want you and reject you, they always say, you're too early. And back in the days, I thought it's just an excuse, but there is actually something about this sentence. Because if you are, for example, a founder that has already made its name, so for example, Mark Zuckerberg, if he would come, he only needs his name and people would throw money at him. But obviously, if you're a first-time founder, you don't have that reputation yet. So most of the times you need to have an idea and a story to tell. You need to have some sort of an MVP of the product. It could be a demo. It could be, I don't know, like an easy way to click through the model. And the last thing that you need to show is some sort of growth or traction. This could be. subscribers to an email list, or customers that are engaging with you, or a community that you build on WhatsApp. It could be really literally anything that shows that people are interested in your product and are willing to sign up. If you have these 3 things in place, like a story to tell or an idea, some sort of an MVP product and market traction, it would be ideal if you can prove that you have around, I would say, 10% of week-over-week growth in this traction. Because if you get to this point, you can go to investors and you can raise a deal that is actually favorable for you as well. Because if you go a bit too early, people will give you not enough money, and it can be that you burn some of the connections that you got. So the questions on how much money you raise, so basically build some stuff first. I think the advantage of nowadays environment is also that you can build MVPs, you can buy a domain on GoDaddy for, I don't know, like €1 a month. You really don't need to invest much money into it, but you can basically kickstart it with what you have at hand. And the question on how much you need to raise is basically after you reach these like milestones, you go out to your investors and you should, in an, again, ideal world, raise as much money until you become profitable. So you would never, ever need to raise money again. That would be Wonderland, La La Land. It would be amazing. But most of the cases, this is not reality again. We, for example, we now closed our Series B+ round. So we actually went out already for angel round, seed round, Series A, Series B, and Series B+. So this is 5 times fundraising, and it takes a lot of resources. So if you are like us, you don't raise basically 100 million on your first deck, but you need to do it step by step. You normally reach or try to raise as much money that covers you over the next 12 to 18 months. And when you reach the next milestones of your company, for example, you reach a certain amount of customers, or your product reaches a certain amount of maturity, or if you're in a regulated environment, you get a certain license, you know. So every time that you feel your company and your product really developed and is now fundable again, you can go out in the market and raise another amount of money. And in terms of percentage, I mean, this is still your first round. So basically, probably your seed round. Ideally, you should give away like 10-ish%, but not more than 25%. Because if you give away too much in the beginning, obviously dilution will kick in and all these topics, but you will be not fundable in the future because the investors for a Series C round also want to see that the founders are still engaged, right? So the interests are still aligned and you have a significant amount of shares over your company, so to still call it your own. This is all still a best case scenario. In the end, it sometimes comes also down to hard decisions that you need to make. And one thing that I hear a lot is the topic of evaluation. Especially for the first million, I wouldn't worry about it too much. It is by now very common to also raise convertible loans in the very first round and don't do an equity round. This means you can kind of delay the topic of valuation a bit until it becomes really significant, and try to kind of not worry about this topic too much, but get enough money to reach the next milestones and don't give away too much of your company. That's basically the why, the how, and how much, and when. And the process itself, I mean, you can probably read a lot about this online, but one experience that I made is it always takes longer than you think. Basically 5 rounds that we did, I don't know how many nights and resources went into fundraising. So try to make it as structured as possible. It always helps if you have, before we had a CFO talking, it always helps if you have a CFO that is very structured, can time box the process, is very diligent with all the documents. But in the end, try to push it through as good as possible. And try also in the beginning to be a bit greedy. If somebody offers you money, be happy for the money and also take it. It's better to have it like in the bank account and to not prolong the process as much as possible. And in terms of outreach, I mean, events like these are amazing. You have investors in the calls, you can connect afterwards, write them a message and build up a relationship very early on when you don't meet them yet. So you have a coffee, a conversation. So in the time that you actually meet the investors, they already know you and you don't have to reach out with a cold approach. So that's like any job you want to get in the future, a warm introduction or a VC in your network is super helpful, and it's better to have this relationship set up early than later. And especially for the first round, I would also say everything around we have here, negotiation, close the deal, documentation should be fairly easy. If there's an investor that want for the first round already have a huge due diligence room and financials and whatever, you should rather be a bit scared, because in the beginning, there's just not that much that you should be able to have. You know, you're still in your MVP, it's more the future that they should be interested in rather than the past. So what to prepare, I think that's the last slide. I think that's also something that you already did for this CEMS challenge. It's basically your pitch deck, and be aware of your story and have a good executive summary for an email that you can send over with the key KPIs, and always show this one KPI that is kind of the magic KPI. So there's certain numbers that give a hint that you might hit product market fit in the future, and really highlight and stress these KPIs. Before there was a mention of the NPS, the Net Promoter Score. If you have a Net Promoter Score of 80 something, please push it out. It's an amazing score, and it really shows that there's some early signs of customer love. That's basically already it. In the end, I would say fundraising is like anything else. It's like getting your first job. It's a challenge, and a lot of times you will feel that this is quite exhausting time, and it feels like you're going up a hill, a very, very steep hill. And after you've done it, you will actually realize that this was only the first challenge, and the real challenge is actually building your company after you have the money in. And there will be much more to come, but I would say it's one of the most learning experience you can get in a short time. So don't give up if you're in the middle of the process, and keep going.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Jessica. That's very hands-on advice, and I'm sure that for many of our listeners here and our viewers online, that's very, very practical. So yeah, amazing, highly appreciated. Maybe just one or two quick follow-up questions on some of the topics that you raised. For first-time founders particularly, it's quite a challenging question of when to raise exactly. So it's sort of the dilemma of growing the founding team or hiring people. And if you hire people, you obviously need more money, you need to raise more. If you consider this dilemma, what's your opinion on that?
I mean, we were 5 founders, and a lot of people told us in the beginning this is a too big founding team. But it really depends on the setup. In our case, we had 5 people, which were covering all the necessary areas of the company that we wanted to build. And it was very, I would say, we worked very autonomous and independently without making decisions in a committee. And that allowed us to move super fast with less resources, right? We didn't need to pay 5 salaries or like 5 tech salaries, especially in the beginning. So that allowed us to move. I would say decide on a case-by-case basis, and especially for co-founders, it is good to have diverse views. But one thing that you have to be on basically aligned is your underlying values, because you will be working with that person for the next maybe on average 7 to 10 years if you want to go until IPO, and you need to have the same understanding of the world. You have to need the same understanding of, for example, in regards to how transparent you want to be. So this underlying value should be the same, and then just go on a case-by-case basis. I think calling more people than 2 co-founders is not a problem at all. Just like make the case for yourself.
Mm-hmm. And your experience actually proves that to be true. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. So looking back, I mean, you were very successful also with fundraising, 5 rounds that you completed, 40 million euros that you managed to raise. Nonetheless, I mean, obviously, as a first-time founder, there are mistakes to be made, and maybe looking back and also giving advice to some of the people here, what is one mistake that you made in this whole process, and how would you avoid it now?
I think it's finding good angel investors. So the angel investors that we had in the beginning were okay. No, I shouldn't say anything bad about them. They were great, but they weren't like hands-on. They weren't there like all the time. And compared to that, I am together with another Penta founder. We are now also angel investing into other startups. And I really see how much value you could give them now in terms of deal negotiations, in terms of how to approach certain challenges and problems. And I think, especially in this whole VC world, if you didn't study finance, if you didn't work in whatever VC, private equity, or so on, you just don't know as much as they do. And every investor is a pro. He does these negotiations every day, and you never did it before. So I would, looking back, get angel investors on board that would help me for the next following rounds, and ask other founders more for advice, especially in terms of negotiating deals, because you're always there to help each other, and I wouldn't keep it that, wouldn't do so much secrecy around it, because in that case, you only lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much. Very, very hands-on also answers to my questions. So thanks a lot for joining. And yeah, I'm sure that by now we're all very curious to see which team actually won the competition. But before we move to that, let me quickly tell you or introduce what those teams are actually winning. So for both the early stage and the concept stage phase, there's going to be a winner, and both winners there are going to be awarded with a 1-hour coaching session with Calm Storm Ventures, a venture capital firm based in Vienna. It's a VC boutique fund founded also by CEMS alumni, and by now they have grown their portfolio to 12 companies, and typically they invest in early stage and pre-seed rounds. So I think that might actually be very helpful feedback and very relevant as well to the teams who win those coaching sessions. So yeah, let's now hand over to the jury. I take it that you have gathered successfully and are ready to announce a winner for the concept stage.
Thanks, Alvin. Yes, I will take over here. So first of all, thanks everyone. I think those all were actually really good pitches, and you managed to bring the message forward very well. So we as the jury decided that in the concept stage, the winner is Epiclay. We think that there is a clear need in the market. We also see a strong value proposition from the team side. We think that it will be key to invest enough resources also into the regulatory compliance to make sure that actually the solution, fits the regulatory requirements. And also one challenge that we see will be the international expansion. But there, I think the team mentioned that they have some ongoing conversations with some players in the market that might provide a shortcut also into an international expansion. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Amazing. Christoph?
Thank you so much. That's also very helpful feedback. We will definitely look into this again. And yeah, thank you so much.
Very nice. So obviously we will contact you for all the details and put you in touch with Calm Storm Ventures, your contacts there. And hopefully you can really take out the most of this feedback session with them. With that, let's move on. And I hear that the jury has also decided on a winner for the early stage track.
Yes, this was a tough choice, and we've eventually decided to award the prize to Metarina. We believe that their concept addresses a real pain point that some of us have actually experienced not so long ago. We think there's potential to scale. We think there's some challenges ahead. It's going to be important to develop the right APIs to integrate into the existing legacy systems that the marinas are using. We think there's going to be a massive sales job ahead to go and recruit all of these marinas, but we see potential, and so we want to say, well, best of luck and well done. Just a special prize to this is CEMS, and just we think again you've done really well so far to bring on all of these projects, and we'd love to see a product. So maybe we can talk again.
Thank you very much. It was especially just a pleasure to get to know all of you guys and working with the mentors. So thank you for awarding us, but also for the work that has gone into this.
Congratulations, Henry. Very, very nice, and definitely another milestone, and also some helpful feedback, definitely for all of you, I take it. So now there is one last jury that has spoken as well, and actually for the audience voting, View is sponsoring vouchers for every team member, €100 vouchers, so you can really familiarize yourself now with the online versus offline buying experience at View if you need glasses or sunglasses. And thanks again to Johannes for enabling that sponsorship and that prize. That's definitely great news. Now, the winner in the audience voting is, again, Metarina. Congratulations.
Virtual applause.
Thank you so much. Actually, one of our team members, Nicola, she broke her glasses last week, so we really need it. So I think it's only fair.
Perfect timing.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Then thank you very much. That concludes our event. First of all, thank you. Congratulations to our winners. Thank you to all the brave CEMSies that have pitched their ideas and their startups today, and that also were brave enough to go in front of the jury and answer the difficult questions. It's really a pleasure that so many of you have joined, and to go the journey with you through the mentoring and now to the final event. And it's great to see that there are so many motivated entrepreneurs in the CEMS program, and we hope to see many more in the future. I would also like to thank, of course, the jury for asking the questions and for determining our winner and for joining us today, and also the speakers for their time and for sharing their insights with us. It's really great to see your support for this event, and that you are happy to be part of this. But last but not least, I need to give a very personal thank you to everyone in our team at CEMS Entrepreneurs that helped with the organization of this event. Alex, Alvin, Ivana, Maxime, and Melly. It was really a pleasure to work with you over the past weeks and months, and without your dedication and your hard work, we couldn't have done it. So it's really great to have you on board and to work with you, and I'm looking forward to all the future things or all the future initiatives that we will get going with CEMS Entrepreneurs. And now to everyone following the live stream, of course, thank you as well for joining. Thanks for sticking around and for voting for your favorite startup. We hope all of you had as much fun as we had. And if you'd like to stay up to date about CEMS Entrepreneurs, again, you can get out your phone, scan the QR code and join our mailing list, or just go to cemsentrepreneurs.com and find out how you can engage with us. If there's anything, if you want to collaborate, just send an email and we'll reach out as fast as we can. So that being said, to everyone here in the Zoom call, the CEMS Entrepreneurs team will stick around for a bit. So if you would like to talk to us or have any questions or anything you want to want to talk about, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, I would say thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone of the live stream. Good night. Thanks for joining and see you soon.